Assalamu alaikum guys, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to my new video. So before I start talking about room transformation part 2, I'm gonna talk about some comments. So in my last video, I was wearing a niqab, I was covering my face, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. I got a lot of these comments, and I also got a lot of these comments, and those, and more, and oh my god. So first of all, what I want to clear, I'm not a niqabi in real life. I don't cover my face in real life. Why I want to cover my face online, or why I'm thinking of covering my face online, is because of these kind of comments. Of course, this is just one example of why I want to cover my face online. So you guys know that I'm doing like Islamic content and everything. I get a lot of comments where people just be like, oh, I didn't even concentrate on what you said in the video, you're so pretty or something, or they be like, oh, I just focused on your face, I didn't even care about what you say. And it just makes me feel weird because people don't care about my words, people don't care about what I want to give them, what message I want to give them. And most of the time, they just look at my face and like low-key objectifying me. And I just feel weird about that. So I feel like it's better for me to cover up a little bit more. So for me, just to have like my intentions pure on one hand, and also just to feel a little bit better and more safe. Of course, this was just one reason why I want to cover up online. Another reason is because I get a lot of weird, really weird messages, unfortunately. And they just make me feel weird and really uncomfortable. So I'm still thinking about it. I don't know if I'm gonna, always cover my face online, or if I'm just gonna do it sometimes. By the way, I don't follow the opinion that it's obligatory, but I follow the opinion that it's sunnah. That's about it. But let's get to our topic. Room transformation part 2. A lot of people waited for this, so I'm super excited to show you my room. So just to summarize everything, let's look at my room, how it looked like before changing it. So we see everything was a little bit messy, a lot of things were just super packed, and my wardrobe was broken, and everything was just super messy and full. We got some posters and more you see here. So the last thing I needed to buy was a wardrobe, and we built it yesterday, so I'm gonna show you what we did. It was actually a struggle, like it took us so long and it was so hard to build. First of all, we had to get rid of the old closet and build a new one. And it was just so much work. I was so dead after building it. But alhamdulillah, my father helped me. And it was such a struggle to bring on these big doors and everything. It was such a struggle. And afterwards to put every cloth in and everything. It took me just so much time. But alhamdulillah, we have it done. Here is my room. So here you see the wardrobe, the new wardrobe. Alhamdulillah, now I have a big mirror also, so I can take good pictures. You see the books, you see the posters and everything. That's how it looks like. All in all, I really love my new room. Before it looked so messy, now it's like so organized, so minimalistic, but at the same time it's not minimalistic because yeah, of course, there are a lot of books and everything. By the way, an organized room is super important for your discipline also. Means if you have an organized and clean environment, it motivates you more and gets you more disciplined. So I can just recommend to change your room, structure everything, clean everything up, so you can also become more productive and more. I don't want this video to be too short, so I'm gonna do a Q&A right now. I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me some questions, so I'm gonna answer them right now. First of all, a lot of people asked me what I will do in Ramadan, and I will prepare some Ramadan PDFs, inshallah. So it means some planners and dhikr and everything. Some PDFs, so you can print them out and use them during Ramadan, inshallah. I'm still working on them. The first question is, what is your biggest fear? So if you mean like in general, my biggest fear is not to enter Jannah, and advice to learn Arabic. The best way to learn Arabic is of course with a teacher, but there's an online course called Medina Books, and I'm gonna start learning with them too and studying with them too. So I can tell you guys about it a little bit on Instagram when I really start with it. Someone asked how to do dawah to our non-Muslim friends. I feel like the best way to do dawah is being a good Muslim and being a good human. Means just be a nice person and just have a beautiful character, and I feel like that's the best way to do dawah, because people are gonna see you and be like, wow, this person is so nice. Why? If you think about it, we as humans, we don't have to be nice to other people. There is no law on this world which says you have to be nice to other people. Does it? I don't know. But we're nice to other people because of our religion, because our religion says so. What do you suggest as the best app for reciting Quran? I'm using the app Memorize. I really like it, to be honest. It looks like that. I don't know if you guys have it also on Android, but on iPhone there is an app like that. Someone said, please upload a video every day or weekend. What? Girl, I have a life too. I can't post every day. I'm sorry. The next question. The next question is, what's your opinion on obeying your husband? These questions, man. I feel like in marriage, it comes from both ways. So it means the husband has some rights and the wife has also some rights. And the best way to have a beautiful marriage is to give both of them the rights. All these marriage questions. Don't you get bored of these questions? Like, someone asked, when will you make theological videos? When I'm really educated in this field. I just started studying Islamic theology, means I still have a lot of time to do these kind of videos. If you can travel anywhere, where would you go? My first destination right now is Medina and Mecca. I would love to see the Northern Lights, so I would love to go to Finland, Iceland and stuff. How many siblings do you have? I have 2 older brothers. Who's your favorite YouTuber? I don't have a favorite YouTuber. I'm not watching YouTube that much, to be honest. What's the one thing or an experience that made you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Educating yourself more. The more you do research about Islam, the more you educate yourself, the more you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to your religion. The more books you read, the more you talk with people about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about His mercy, etc., the more you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's like an advice I would give. The next question is how to be more consistent with prayer. It's all about discipline. You have to discipline yourself. It's the same with time management and working out, etc. So it's all about disciplining yourself. What helped me a lot with prayer is actually making dua a lot. You have to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tell Him that you want to start praying and you want to do everything. And what helped me a lot was just realizing you can't do anything, literally anything, without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help. Means you can't wake up for Fajr without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help. Means you really need His help to wake up. You really need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to pray and to, to do anything. So realizing that helped me a lot. Another advice for me for Fajr is before you sleep, you have to acknowledge and realize after you wake up, you're gonna wake up, pray, and go to sleep again. What I always do before sleeping is really realizing, visualizing actually what I'm gonna do in the morning. My alarm is gonna go off. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, make my wudu, go pray, and then, you can read Quran, sleep again, etc. It's all about you. But just visualizing that will help you a lot to wake up. When do you think a person is ready for marriage? Oh, that's a good question. So before getting married, you should actually think about your responsibilities in marriage and also, the rights of the husband, the rights of a wife. I would recommend to read some books about marriage, to go to courses about marriage and everything. It's not easy at all. There are a lot of hardships and also some beautiful parts too. I mean, a lot of beautiful parts. We just have to acknowledge the responsibilities which come with marriage. Do you see yourself wearing niqab full-time in the long term? I don't know, Allahu Alam. I actually don't know. If you had to marry a guy who is amazing in all matters, which ethnicity would you want him to be? What is this question? I actually don't prefer any ethnicity. The next question is, what inspires you to stay motivated learning Arabic and praying on time and reading, etc.? What I always do is think about death. I could die any second. So what inspires me and motivates me is actually just to think about death and be like, hey, I could die any second. I could die just in 1 hour. I could die tomorrow. I could die in some seconds, some minutes, some weeks, I don't know. You never know. At the end of the day, we're here to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not for anything else. We're not here to, just waste our times or anything. No, we're here to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people see worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they see it as a burden. They see it as something bad and something hard to do. I was reading something about this and it was super interesting. I was reading this book and it's called The Productive Muslim by Muhammad Faris. And it was super interesting because it talks about this specific topic about worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this book it says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us as slaves. When you think about slaves, you think about something bad and stuff because of the history. We are created as slaves, means as a human being, we're always trying to connect to something. We always try to be a slave of anything. And now if you think about it, it's so true. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this religion to be a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not to be a slave of money, if not to be a slave of this dunya. So for example, example, imagine of being a slave to something which isn't eternal. For example, money, right? You're a slave to money. And if this money is gonna go away, if this money, for example, you're investing in something and this money is gonna go away and stuff, and you're just gonna be super, super depressed. So that's why we should be a slave to something eternal. Because something eternal won't make us sad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there all the time. In this book it says, if you're not going to be a slave to Allah, you'll be a slave to something or somebody else. And it's super, super true. So we are created as slaves, and thus we have a choice. Either we willingly submit and become slaves to the Creator, or we become slaves to our money, our jobs, our families, our ego, etc. So simply by accepting that you're a slave of Allah opens a new level of purpose and meaning in your life. I actually recommend this book a lot. And to be honest, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala isn't that hard. Islam is a lifestyle. It's not like a burden or anything. Islam makes you to a good human being. It makes you to a really nice person. And if you think Islam makes you to a bad person and Islam makes you to a really rude person, then the Islam you're living is probably wrong. So worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is even with a smile. You get so many rewards by making people smile, even smile yourself, because smiling is sunnah. Worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also to help someone. For example, you help someone out, you help someone go over the street and pass the street. That's about this video. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, subscribe to my channel, click on the like button, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye!